Thomas the Tank Engine, the show about the blue train with the face, follows the adventures of Thomas and his fellow engines on the island of Sodor. Originally written as a book series called The Railway Series by Reverend Wilbur Awdry in 1945, it was adapted for television in 1984 by Britt Allcroft, transforming Thomas from a British storybook series into a globally recognised character. Narrated by icons like the former Beatle Ringo Starr in the UK and George Carlin, the adult comedian, in the US, the show struck a perfect balance between nostalgia and freshness. This analysis explores what set Thomas the Tank Engine apart from other children's shows by examining its narrative themes, aesthetics, animation principles, technical production, and distinctive use of anthropomorphism rooted in rail realism. But first, what is a children's show? A children's show is designed with younger audience in mind, often including simplified storytelling, positive moral lessons, and approachable characters. Children's programming can range widely in style, from calm and educational to flashy and action-packed. For instance, while Thomas the Tank Engine presented itself as a gentle story-driven series set in a familiar everyday world, other popular shows of the 1980s, such as Transformers, leaned into high-energy action to captivate viewers. These contrasting approaches highlight the different techniques used to engage young audiences. Narrative themes and genre. One unique aspect of Thomas the Tank Engine that sets it apart from other children's media is its grounding in a world based closely on real-life railways rather than an exaggerated fantasy setting. The island of Sodor operates as a fully functional railway, with characters performing real train tasks like hauling freight, shunting, and dealing with the responsibilities of rail work.
The engines have decided to go on strike.
Unlike the cartoon logic of shows like SpongeBob SquarePants, where fire can burn on the water or rocks can be driven, Thomas the Tank Engine is rooted in plausible railway scenarios, focusing on challenges that real engines might encounter.
Nothing exciting ever happens. It's just coal, 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 and trucks, trucks, trucks. I'm bored, bored, bored.
Unlike other franchises where anthropomorphized characters mirror human behaviors or replace human roles, like the animals in Zootopia or the cars in Pixar's Cars, the engines in Thomas are presented as distinctly train-like, grounded in their mechanical nature and roles on the railway. Steam engines, in particular, lend themselves well to personification. Their chuffing sounds, whistles, and constant need for fuel maintenance give them a lifelike quality that enthusiasts find nearly human. Aesthetics. The visual style of Thomas the Tank Engine was also a defining factor. Using actual model props and sets with real steam effects, the show embraced a tactile, storybook feel that contrasted sharply with the flat 2D animation common in children's television at the time. Each engine was equipped with movable eyes allowing them to look around, which added a layer of expressiveness that made the models feel alive. Set designs in the early seasons were particularly unique, with detailed backgrounds that felt like children's illustrations come to life. Locations like the viaduct, windmill, and the railway stations were carefully crafted with rich, painterly details that made the world feel grounded and peaceful. The use of colours in Thomas was intentional as well. The muted, earthy tones of the environments created a cohesive, calming palette, further enhancing the show's aesthetic appeal. This style stood from other children's shows such as Transformers, where bright, high-contrast colours were used to make toys more visually striking. In Thomas, however, the colours were selected to match the gentle storybook feel of Sodor. Music. The show's score, composed by Mike O'Donnell and Junior Campbell, was another element that elevated Thomas the Tank Engine from typical children's programming. Each character had their own musical theme that reflected their unique personality. Thomas's theme was upbeat and adventurous, while Gordon's had a majestic grand quality. The synthesizer-heavy soundtrack was distinct, giving the show a memorable soundtrack that set it apart in the genre. The attention to music detail extended beyond characters. Even locations had recurring themes that enhanced the sense of place and consistency, such as the themes associated with the windmill or viaduct. This approach contributed to the immersive quality of the series and helped solidify each character and locations as memorable parts of the Thomas universe. Culturally, Thomas reflected societal changes of the time by portraying the transition from steam to diesel engines, mirroring the technological shifts occurring worldwide.
Old locomotives are being cut up for scrap metal at the rate of 2 or 3 every week.
We diesels are taking over and we don't need tenders to make us important.
This shift introduced a gentle commentary on tradition versus progress, presenting a world where characters had to adopt new changes while honouring the old ways. Technical production and process. Using model animation was a bold choice that contributed to the show's charm. David Midden, the director, employed various techniques to make the models appear more lifelike. Low camera angles made the engines look more imposing, and lighting techniques added depth and realism to the scenes. The use of real steam effects filmed at high frame rates and then slowed down added to the authenticity of the train's movements. The production of Thomas the Tank Engine was a labour of love. Britt Allcroft, fascinated by the books, mortgaged her house to produce the adaptation. She collaborated with David Midden after she saw a yogurt ad directed by him, who brought the series to life with his expertise in model animation. The use of live-action models inspired by shows like Thunderbirds set a new standard for children's television. The meticulous attention to detail in the sets and models, combined with the innovative filming techniques, created a visually stunning and engaging show.
Thomas the Tank Engine is by no means cheap to make. Each 5-minute episode takes a week to film and costs £50,000, more than $1 million for a series.
This commitment to high production values ensured that Thomas the Tank Engine stood out in a crowded market. In conclusion, Thomas the Tank Engine was a unique and thoughtfully crafted show, distinguished by its realistic portrayal of trains, charming model-based animation, and subtle moral storytelling. Unlike many of its contemporaries that relied on action and spectacle to attract young viewers, Thomas captivated audiences with relatable stories, slower pace, and a peaceful setting. Its balance of realism, character, and a respectful approach to its audience intelligence helped to create a lasting favourite in children's programming, celebrated for the calm, thoughtfully built world it introduced on the island of Sodor. G'day, I'm Joe Train, and thanks for making it to the end of the analysis. So I originally made this as part of a university assessment. So basically you get to choose creative work that you really like and do an analysis on it using several themes. So you have all the themes there, and I, as someone who grew up with Tom Sangagen and likes trains, as you can see with the background, all the great trains of Australia there, I'll go with Thomas the Tank Engine, and that's why I ended up doing a analysis on that. Massive inspiration for this is, by no surprise, the Unlucky Tug. He's done a lot of great analysis videos on Thomas the Tank Engine, going into depth and a lot of topics, such as going through every season, and also talked about the David Mitton, the director's the use of the low camera angles. I did incorporate a lot of information from the Unlucky Tugs videos, so that was a great source for this analysis. The one thing is that this it's supposed to be a 7 to 10 minute presentation, and obviously I had a lot more information I wanted to add. Some of the things I would have liked to add is in Thomas the Tank Engine, the show doesn't talk down to its child audience. You use a lot of technical dialogue.
So the feed pipe is blocked, said the inspector. I'll just look in the tank.
Then try to soften the show to make it more child friendly. They often delve into darker themes, they do in season 2. They have Percy's Ghost, where very spooky atmosphere in that. Season 5 especially has a lot of that kind of same atmosphere. Also talking about mature themes for what's considered a children's show. They bring up scrap a lot, which is analogous to death. with a lot of children's shows, they at the end of the story they often say the things they learned or what you learned in that episode, or like at the end, like
we had such a fun trip today. What was your favorite part of the trip?
Like here, the moral or whatever. The Thompson Tank Engine doesn't like tends to like wove the stories without like bashing the kids over their head. Like, about like the morals, like everyone learns to get together. And also one surprising thing I found about Tom's is actually that they use cell animation in season 3, I think, with the James B episode. They use like layers of paper, plastic with like the drawing the B on it. Like the animation, like the style is definitely not, like doesn't really fit the style of Tom's Tank Engine, like with the models. But it's just interesting that they're experimenting with different animation styles. So, that was another interesting thing I found out about that. That's my analysis I did for my university assessment. It's pretty good. let me know what you think of it. I don't know if I'm going to do more Thomas the Tank Engine analysis on this channel. I don't know, we'll see. But if you enjoyed, be sure to like, comment, subscribe this video. And be sure to join the journey with Joe Train.